Hey guys, welcome back to another video with Linksy. Today I've got a special one, as promised by my last video. You already see them, don't you? You already know what's coming. So we have Pontus as my ally and myself as Masaesyli, and we're fighting against Egypt and the Averni. So let's look at the armor compositions. Well, let's start it off quickly. So we'll get to that soon. The Arvenai just got Celtic warriors, chosen swordsmen, a couple of oathsworn, their usual composition. They have the Celtic ballista, they have heavy horse. I believe over here they have some Gallic longbowmen. And with regards to the Egyptian, again, Galician infantry, Egyptian infantry, silver shield, swordsman, thorax swordsman, Galician royal guard. I believe they had Galician royal guard. He also had they brought a variety of units. They got mercenary Cretan archers and heavy Greek onagers. And over here they have Egyptian cavalry. On our end, my ally got his combination of mercenary Sicilian archers and sighted chariots. And I got myself some armored Numidian riders as well, which I wanted to try them out. Again, experimenting with shock cavalry at the moment and seeing how you can use it in siege battles. Then I got some desert legionnaires, some desert cohorts. I got my Bastilla here, who is Ballista, sorry, Bastilla, who's getting a few decent shots, I believe. I'm not sure it gets another one, but as you can see, it's getting good shots into these chosen swordsmen. Where are they? There they. Oh, to the Oathsworn. I did not realize that. I got quite a few good kills on the Oathsworn there. And with regards to my ally, he has Pontic Swordsman, Taurus Spears. I believe he has a bit of yes, mercenary, naked swords in reserve. He has Eastern Archers. And then a second line of defense, I have a couple of slingers, tribal slingers. I have my elephants. My general is on an elephant. Just break the charge. We have a lot of traps in reserve, ready to fall back if need be. But over here is where the battle starts. So we start engaging, while at the same time I was firing, I believe, into one of these units. I forgot which. Yes, over here. I got the Galatian swordsman and I damaged them significantly. And I tried to hit. Oh, I hit the chosen swordsman as well. I was just trying to do damage. I was having fun aiming with the ballista and just doing a lot of damage. Just hitting them where it hurts, slowing their advance, and whittling down their troops. Over here, they were advancing from pretty decent tactic. Just advance from everywhere. I would have pushed these forward, but I believe you saw my Cavalry tribesmen. I'm not sure I pronounced that right. I want to try these guys out. They're super light infantry, and they have a couple of javelins, but really and truly, I just wanted to see if I could do any pressure on him, and we were thinking of springing a trap. Meanwhile, my ally is shooting at his general and destroying his ballistas, just putting pressure on the Arveni as possible. And over here, there was a nice cavalry engagement, just charging the cavalry straight through. These are lancers, and they did not charge well. Sometimes it glitches and it doesn't charge well. So you just pull them in, pull them out, try to do damage when you can. These Sarissa like spikes are very useful. Look at that, look at them coming. Good stuff, good stuff. It's useful to try and just deal damage. But what's happening always when you charge out is that you're controlling the flow and controlling how the enemy is. So instead of the enemy completely focusing on the walls and trying to take on the walls, we split his army in half. He has 4 or 5 units over here, each. And meanwhile, the bulk of their army is going on relatively cheap cavalry, which is proving itself to be a nuisance, even though it's barely getting any kills. I mean, yeah, it's not very effective. And as well as there's the Sicilian archers who are just cycling, going in. I forgot what is the Parthian tactics, if I remember right. Sorry, still sort of waking up today. He ran. Oh, that's where his heavy horse went. So his heavy horse came all the way here, trying to chase away our shock cavalry, but at the same time, I'm slowly moving my troops in a fashion to try to flank him and come at his rear. And look how much it has slowed him down. He has two chosen swords and a chosen sword and a Celtic sword. These guys are engaging far after these guys have taken the wall. Here, I'm engaging with my superior desert cohorts into Egyptian infantry, and they're making short work of it. He's trying to flank me over here, which is quite a smart move. But at the same time, my units over here are, desert cohorts. They can do well, and I try to pull them out, but I don't manage in time. At the same time, over here, my ally is. Oh, this is even my desert cohort. I played this a couple of days ago. And yeah, anyway, desert cohort is just holding the line, whereas my ally is dealing with the Celtic warriors and preparing to fight and fire. He's holding the walls on the battlements so he can throw his pila at the incoming enemy and just slow them down. Because Pontic swordsmen, they're good units, but when they're faced with chosen and later on Oathsworn, they don't do so well. Against Celtic warriors, they do quite good because they're quite armored, lightly armored. But then he's bringing forward his naked swords, which, I mean, the name goes with them. They're crazy, naked warriors with a large shield and a sword. Look at them going. Well, they wear loincloth, so they're technically not completely naked. Look at those arses. Anyway, and they're just charging forward. He's pushing through and just trying to hold the line. Over here, he put his Taurus spears, and we're just trying to stem the flow, because if we lost the gate, they would have charged in. At the same time, the battle now seems to have stabilized. I'm trying to break through the ranks with my cavalry and managed to get one of my Numidian armored riders through, but the other one got stuck in. And look at this. Look at how many of them just fell to the Hellenic Royal Guard, to the Galatian Royal Guard. His army has just been busy trying to contain my charges. I think I did 3 charges, 1, 2, and now this is the 3rd one. And he's just running after my cavalry, and I'm trying to just get them out of the woods, get them out of range, but I believe I lost. This unit is completely dead now. But at the same time, the Averni is now on the defensive. He's in box formation, trying to figure out where I'm going to attack him from, because I have my tribesmen in the woods, and he knows that they're there. He can see them. They don't have stock. And I have my cavalry over here in the middle of his army. He's trying to push forward, and he's trying to just, regroup with his ally, try to put together his army, and continue the assault on the walls, which they are losing terribly. My ally is reinforcing my flank with more naked swords, and yeah, the Galatian guard with that pila throw from the desert cohort did not have a chance in hell to survive. And the Thorax swordsman, the right flank has completely collapsed. The Egyptian assault has failed, and it would give us enough breathing time. Whereas on this side, the Averni did a little bit of damage, mainly on this unit of Desert Cohort, but otherwise they've really suffered a lot. The Egyptian cavalry finally catches up with my Numidian riders, which are much heavier and much more difficult to use, but it's done its work. We've whittled down their troops. We're now pretty much facing an even fight because we had invested. So for me, invested 3 units in cavalry, whereas my ally invested 6 units into cavalry. So it does have its impact. Now my ally is deciding it's time to charge out, and he's coming forward with the super heavy armored cavalry, the heavy chariot. They are very nice, and they've got a surprise coming to them. While this is happening, I'm moving forward with my tribesmen, trying to, hey guys, look here, look what I'm doing. I'm getting my army just behind yours. I'm gonna be hiding in the trees. You know where I am. I want you to look over here. And my ally is just ready to just sneak up from behind them and split their army in half. The Arveni finally, their chosen swords are breaking on the walls, and we're having a very good defensive position over here. Quite a lot died from the Pontic swordsmen, and the Tower Spears are still in full health, but the Pontic swordsman got, got heavy hit. The Naked Swords got slaughtered by a peel throw, probably. Yeah, it seems to be the case. And they don't have armor. They're very good shock units. They will charge the enemy and they will wreak havoc. But in overall, they're not the best unit. On my side, I fell back. I tried to get my units to, recover some of their stamina, their fatigue, because they fought the first wave, they fought it off and managed to survive it in part. Oh, I need a little bit of water. But otherwise, they're doing quite well and they're holding their own. Over here, he starts peppering my tribesmen with his archers, so I just charge in. I can see his archers. I tried to do some damage, but these units, they were just meant to be a distraction. They have frenzy charge, which they did quite a lot more damage than I expected them. But now the real fun is coming. Look at this beauty. This is all what we care about in Rome. Glorious charges. He is out in the open. His archers, his Gallic hunters are just there, ripe for the taking. He comes around with his heavy horse and charges the rear of my tribesmen, which did better than I expected them to be doing. I believe they got 30 kills, yeah, a couple of kills each, but they're engaged 5 or 6 of his units there. And even though his chariots are struggling a bit, they're gonna just break straight through and they're gonna charge into his general. They're gonna charge into his archers. And even if one of them makes it through, oh, that charge, that charge. Look at his archers go. So this is already 60, wait, how many? 100 kills. How much is this? This is 3, this is 50. This is almost 100 kills already. Just charging through, wrecking his archers completely. 200, 300 kills. This one is at 100. This one was blocked by the Oathsworn and the Ballista, but these two, 370 kills already. That beautiful charge. My tribesmen broke and started running. Oh, they actually got it. They ran this way and recovered. But 400 kills on that chariot and almost 200. Shall this reach the 100? It seems it will. 198, 99, 201. Lovely. And the final charge into this blob of Oathsworn. His archers are pretty much gone. His army is in tatters. There's nothing happening on the wall. With just a couple well-placed charges, he managed to demolish the enemy. This got 166. Did any one of this chariot survive? No, I believe. Did it? 458. It's still going. 67. 470. It will not reach. It will not reach 500. But it has done the damage. The army has been slaughtered. The general unit is dead, pretty much. The Celtic swords is Oathsworn. Oh my god, this fresh unit of Oathsworn. 44 men left. This was a massacre. And his army, at this point, he's like, GG, that was too much to deal with. And all of the Averni I pretty much dealt with. Now what we have to deal with is just slowly get rid of the last remaining Oathsworn, which this is how you use Oathsworn typically in siege battles, well protected, well placed, and just ripping through lines, chewing through lines, through shield formations. Over here, my Desert Legionnaires are heavily depleted, but they have been getting quite a few kills themselves. But now they're being fired at by the Cretan archers from the side, and that is gonna start killing them one by one. And now they're fighting also Thorax swordsmen, which are their equivalent unit, so they are not doing that well. That's mostly what's happening right now. Slowed down a lot. They are still reeling from shock. They did not do, however, like last video, where their morale broke and they resigned from the battle. They're still fighting and they're doing their best to take it onwards. Now they're reorganizing themselves, reorganizing their final few troops, and putting on a brave charge to the walls. We start losing the gates, I believe, here at some point, because they push through. But my ally then just charges in with everything he has, his bronze shield, shield pikeman, and he just seals this place shut because these. Okay, it's lagging. Why is it lagging? In game, it lagged a lot. Okay, and that's strange. All right, the Oathsworn was making short work of these Pontic swordsmen, and my desert cohort is back in the fight. We've recaptured the gates, and now the Royal Peltasts are coming up. The remaining Averni traumatized soldiers moving up this. They're like, we just saw half our army die, sir. Go up the siege ladders. Go up the siege walls and siege towers. You must take the city. And now they're just coming in, trying to breach, even if take a small part of the city and burn it down, but they don't know what can happen. At this point, my only unit on the front line that's in still good health is this desert cohort with 206 skills. This desert cohort, which was here, was broken, but look at the massacre at this choke point. It's just a grinding fight. And I realized this tower is providing such amazing support, so I moved in my troops to try and defend it, even though we had the great balls of fire waiting for the enemy. And at this point, they're moving forward and they're falling into our trap, because this place, we can flank them very easily. The Celtic warriors charge in, they throw their pila, but my men are out of pila, so they cannot return fire. But they're fighting heavily armed Roman legionnaires, basically desert legionnaires, so they are very strong and very potent unit. I believe I start sending reinforcements over here. A couple of the units from my second line of defense, we noticed we're doing significantly well, so I started moving my troops forward, and we weren't sure what they had left, so we were being very cautious, but we knew we had done significant damage to the enemy. They are tearing this bronze shield pikemen apart with their pila. They know how to deal with it, but we're not giving them a chance. My ally charges in his brave Pontic swordsman into the much better equipped Thorax swordsman to just stop the pila throws, basically sacrificing his cheap unit to save an expensive unit. My desert cohort is trying to recover some fatigue, and over here, and he's just trying to charge in, but it's not gonna work. So what can you do in a situation like this? If you know how the mechanics work, this acts like a wall. So if you walk on it, you put your units on it and then click here, for example, they will walk along it, and you can easily outflank your enemy. So if you're caught in a situation like this where you have a very strong unit which you cannot break with your weaker, he has 100 Oathsworn, but as you can see, all of his units are very depleted, tired, and winded. So just put your Oathsworn up here while your cheaper units take care and charge the back of the desert cohort. Just annihilate it. Even though by now that 2 units of desert cohort are coming in to reinforce the situation that has formed here. His archers, I believe, the Cretan archers, what's left of them that did not waste their ammo, are just trying to soften up the last shield, the last pike wall we had, and my ally is just doing what he loves doing best. He loves charging out of the city, and he loves causing pain. So he's charging out his naked swords, he's charging into the enemy Cretan archers, and the Cretan archers are being melted. This is how you use naked swordsmen. They are a shock unit, shock infantry. Just charge them in, kill as many as you can, pull them out and charge back in. Their charge is amazing. They have 52 charge attack. That is incredible compared to the 12 of the desert cohort, which is a much better unit, or the 35 of the Oathsworn. This unit of naked swords barely costs anything, whereas this costs a lot, and you could get probably 2 or 3 naked swords for the price of the Oathsworn. But then that's their weakness. Javelins, missiles, they get melted. So you need to use them in a sneaky way, like my ally did here. Charge them out of the gate, the archers just in front of the gate, and just, do the damage. Now he got his javelin men up here to try and throw some javelins and break through the very weakened, scattered unit of shield pikemen, but that's not working. From my end, I charged to this Oathsworn unit which was trying to come up the siege wall, and I reinforced my line of Desert Cohort, which is now up to 314 kills. It's doing very well for itself. The other Desert Cohorts are just supporting, and at some point, I believe I also start bringing the rest of my army down to join the fight. My ally still has his last chariot in reserve as well, and pretty much at this point the fight is over. There's 10 minutes of battle, but they failed their second assault on the walls. They lost just too much. They lost way too much to our cavalry charge, which they should have noticed because we started coming with cavalry from this side, so they should have been prepared for it. And in retrospect, if we attacked both at this side and this side with cavalry at the same time, we might have done even more damage than the weak charges we did, weak attempts. Then again, it might have lured them into a sense of complacency. Complacency? I think that's the word, complacency. And ended up suffering massive damage because of that. It's unusual for me to hold the walls, but in this case, it was it was just right there. We had to hold the walls. We had to provide an assault. We had to provide a solution to the assault of the enemy by charging out, and that gave us the opportunity to hold the walls much better. Now he's bringing up his Hellenic Royal Guard, his elite units, his Royal Peltas, Hellenic Royal Guard, his Oathsworn. I believe he still has Galatian Swordsmen, and he has a Greek Onager which he hasn't fired yet, and yeah, this is the remainder of their army, and look what we have left in reserve. I'm bringing down my Desert Cohort, I'm bringing my Tribal Slingers which are full ammunition, and he is not having a good time. Egypt is not having a good time. The ballistas from the Averni are back, and now they're shooting and trying to just, there are lots of blobs of infantry here. It's an all-out brawl at this point. We're just trying to break them as fast as possible, and they are trying to damage and go down, fighting at least a valiant effort in attacking our army. Over here, his Oathsworn are shattered. They're trying to walk by, but Desert Cohort is having none of that. They are defending the city, the settlement to the last man. Now over here, the cavalry came on top of the walls and it's firing from the walls, but I believe it's getting some return fire. I'm not sure how that cavalryman died, but it's getting some return fire. His general, the Averni Oathsworn general, is charging in. He's being hit by arrow fire from the gates, and look at this massacre. Bodies upon bodies. The naked swordsman got massacred over here, but over here it's mostly just Egyptian and Averni forces crushed and trodden over as we are pushing forward and forward, trying to break the lines. Pulled back my unit of Desert Cohort here. I charged his Thorax Swordsmen, which were holding all of this, and then I got a fresh unit of Desert Cohort to try and fight the Oathsworn, which were still relatively in good health, and they have done a lot of damage against us. 230 kills now, whereas my Desert Cohort is at 404 kills. Very good unit. They are not as good as Legionnaires, Veteran Legionnaires, or Armored Legionnaires, but they will hold their ground, and they're significantly, impressive when you use them well. Just do not let them get outflanked, because they do not hold as well as other traditional Roman warriors. And that cannonball, we caught it on film. That cannonball did so much damage to us, but it mostly killed his men. It mostly just slammed into his men. He's just they're trying their damnness to just kill as many as possible and to do as much damage. But we keep charging in fresh troops, fresh units. They're trying to burn down our city, but slowly and surely their Galatian swordsmen are getting slaughtered by the tribesmen over here. Just 4 units of tribe slingers just shooting non-stop. We have a fresh unit of cohort here that's just waiting for opportunity to fight. Overall, that unit is getting some good shots. Pity didn't use it earlier. Maybe they could have used it to burn down these siege towers, these arrow towers, which did so much damage, or even make a hole in the wall. Just allowing them to pour in, not having to climb on the siege towers. But at this point, the last Oathsworn is collapsing. The Hellenic Royal Guards is just trying to hold and put a line, but they're getting charged from everywhere. My ally decides to charge in his general and just meme his way through with the chariots, but he has one left. I believe I start getting my elephants down, but they are not doing that well. They're glitching a bit because of all these traps, so it's taking a while. The slingers are firing non-stop at the Oathsworn. They're slowly whittling them down. The Hellenic Royal Guard are just being defended by a very weak unit of Cretan archers and Egyptian javelin men. There is a unit, yeah, that's all they have. The Royal Peltas are being slaughtered by the... Oh, the Averni have a horser up here as well. They dismounted. Where did... Oh, they dismounted over here. And they just charged up the siege towers. Slowly, they have started to fall. I believe I can fast forward it here. And yeah, I'm charging out my army, just trying to break his units. And he's getting his last Hellenic Royal Guard up. These are my heavily depleted units. These all have been fighting. They have killed and held the line as long as possible. Now they're just coming outside and they're just trying to do as much damage as possible. His Cretan archers tried to sneak up on the wall from this side, but it did not matter. They didn't manage to do it in time. And yeah, let's look at it from this perspective. More fireballs coming in, hurting the general of my ally. My ally just charged through into the Hellenic Royal Guard. And this is what I was telling you about. Get them on the walls and loop around and just charge in the back. The Hellenic Royal Guard is breaking. Army losses has been inflicted on both the Egyptians and the Averni. I believe the Averni are completely gone, and the Egyptians just have their general very heavy shock cavalry, the Ptolemaic cavalry, which is going to wreak havoc with their charges, cycle charging into these units. Till the last, they were trying to just, they lost everything. They might as well go down fighting. That is what they had in mind. But they're fighting against depleted units under the arrow tower, so the arrow tower is doing more damage than my units could ever do. As the enemy is trying to escape, the gatehouse with oil is burning them alive. He still had the Cretan archers available. Interesting, we did not notice that. We were just so intent focusing on the Ptolemaic cavalry to break it. I believe that this is game. 50 seconds left. Let's fast forward it even further. His general is breaking everything we're throwing at him. I get my elephants out, and let's watch the last 10 seconds. My elephants just charge in. They just wanted a little bit of the fight. And that's it. That's GG. They fought and they've killed. It was a costly victory, but let's see the repercussions of the fight. From my end, my Numidian armored cavalry did not do much. They were slaughtered really easily. The Egyptian dealt with them very effectively and efficiently. Whereas with the tribal slingers, they started fighting at the end, so they did a good job, considering most of them were still almost full ammo. Whereas the Desert Cohort, I am very impressed how well they did. Even the Desert Legionnaires, they did really good themselves. I was disappointed in the Gautuli tribesmen. I felt I could have done more with them. Maybe I could have spread them out a little bit more. But my ally did fantastic with his chariots. He got it pretty much. So he got, what's this? This is 500, 600, 700, 800. He got almost 900 men killed with just 3 chariots. Actually, his chariots got over 900 men killed, which is pretty much half of the enemy's army. And then his naked swords just did the rest with the Pontus swordsmen and his archers just peppering down the enemy. From the Egyptian side, his royal Tauric swordsmen and his peltas did well. His Hellenic guard held well on the walls, and the Galatian royal guard just slaughtered anyone who fought them. His archers just got so many kills against my units, and his onager, he pulled his weight and he did a lot of damage to us. Same goes with the Averni. If we did not charge him, and if he did not lose half of his Oathsworn in that fight at with the charge of the cavalry, we would have struggled to maintain him, hold him back. His chosen swordsmen and chosen spears all did really well, with the exception of his Celtic warriors, which, yes, they did get a decent amount of damage. But then look, his Ballista and his Gallic hunters barely managed to get any damage in. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you like the content, please just subscribe and just tell me what you want to see, what do you want me to do, what content you want to see. And yeah, see you in the next one. Bye bye.